All right. I'm not muted. All right, we're good. We're live. Welcome. Welcome all to my final stream of the Gundam Double Zeta. So tonight we just have like literally 3 pieces. Hey TJ, how are you? How are you doing? I was just saying this is it. This is my final stream. My final stream of the Gundam Double Zeta. No, just of this one. Just of this kid. Sorry. Drama. I want my money back. Yeah. I am sorry about that, but no refunds. How are you doing, my friend? We literally have these pieces left to do. That, and that. So it's happening. It is happening tonight. My eyes feel full of ground glass. Were you sandblasting? Goggles. Protective goggles. What's up? Allergies or... Did you get bitten by some weird Australian thing? No, of course not. You sat up mini painting. Of course. What are you working on, my friend? You don't have weird things that bite. Shut up. Yes, you do. You live in Australia. I thought everything there, including the fuzzy teddy koala bears, are venomous. Or are you just teasing? I was waiting for the punchline to that joke. I saw it coming. Have you started working on the, is it the Bellacore? Bellacore? Now, I'm pretty sure there is a decal set for the Kstraya. if you wanted to get that. All 10 of them. Hand painting the lines. I know I've mentioned decal sets in the past. But I know there's one for that because I got one. I got one for mine, my MRSA kit, because the MRSA kit doesn't really come with very nice decals. Etchibat, welcome. How are you? And she's like, wait, doesn't he normally say welcome twice? Who is he and what has he done with Corvus Oculum? Be'lakor is 99% built. Gonna start painting the base. Thinking of painting him differently to what they recommend. Well, as unpredictable artist would say, he's your Be'lakor. You paint him how you want. Good evening, Etchy. I hope you've had a pretty good week so far. So, Etchy, we literally, I was saying earlier, this is it. This is my final stream. This is the end. This is the last one that will be featuring the Gundam Double Zeta. We have 3 pieces left. These are them. Got the wingy crown head thing. Technical Gundam term. And we have, this thing's kind of fragile, so I try to put it somewhere safe. And then we have the 2 sort of shoulder cannons, which I'm just going to give a really quick gray. I'm just going to paint the top of them gray, just to give it a little bit of something, something. Only 3 pieces left. You haven't missed anything. I haven't actually shown the model off yet. So we'll do the reveal after. And I was looking back, I was saying on Discord, I'm trying to archive all of my clips. Not clips, but my actual VODs onto YouTube. And we started this on, I think, March 19th. So just a little shy of 2 months of streams. Focus. There we go. Yeah, it's been that long. Don't like how I put that one down. Yes, it has been that long. Yes. I was kind of hoping for, oh, that doesn't seem like too long. Instead, I got that. Yeah. I'm just going to go and cry in the corner. I'm joking. I'm fine. No, it has been a really long time. This kit has been a bit of a slow one. You know, when you get into these really like technical, lots of tape builds, it's just like that. Probably not the best kind of thing to do on a stream, but oh well. I really need to invest in one of those little parts holders. It'd make my life so much easier with this kind of 3-finger thing. There we go. Jeez. I suck. Tape's not going where it should be. Come on, tape god. How many sacrifices do you need? It does Echibat like how I'm gonna sit here and watch some guy for the next 4 hours when I could be doing something adulty. 2.5 hours. Adulty and useful. Well, this is useful. I take offense to this. Once we get this done, this guy finished in the first sort of half of this stream, we're going to be, I'm going to be sort of going through some of the process workflow that I do for like garage kit resin kits. And talk a little bit about the workflow I like to use for the heavily weathered stuff. I forgot to start my little announce bot. The Kishtraya. Ha.
Throw some shrimp on the Barbie. TJ, the man from down under, has entered chat.
It never gets old. The Kshatriya is the first Gunpla I don't want to paint. I really like the green it comes in. Now, a purist would say you...
Unpredictable Artist has entered chat. And this is her badass introduction.
Hello, Unpredictable. Hey, all right, doing them all. I love it. I love it.
Echibat has entered chat.
To that, TJ, I would just say you need to find the exact shade of green. No, I mean, I get it. I get that you might not want to paint one. Besides, the Kshatriya looks like it would be a lot of paint.
Drift has connected to chat at 56k baud.
Hey, Drift. If these things are too fussy, we're going to just skip them. And I'll do them after the stream. But I want to devote maybe another half hour to the double zeta. I think we'll do okay, though. Let's see here. Every badass artist needs a badass intro. I did all the things today. He. Sorry, he, he. All the things. What will you do tomorrow then? Enter Drift. I got catnip and chocolate mint groceries. Like catnip and chocolate mint. Oh, there's a comma there. Sorry. Catnip and chocolate mint groceries, art supplies, takeout, and hit up the post office. Tomorrow I shall rest and finish my taxes. Our taxes had to have been done already. I love when especially when I wait till everyone's here and then I turn on the bot. Yeah, so I was saying earlier, before I think the majority of you streamed in, this is my last stream, the end, the finale of the Gundam Double Zeta. And I have 3 pieces left. 2 of these. And this guy. I should probably say that differently. When I say this is the end and this is the last stream, that sort of sounds really final. I didn't mean it like that. So that's it. That's all that I have left to do. I would say that one's good. So we'll just do the same treatment on this. Well, you should know me well enough by now that everything I do is on purpose. I'm going to cheat. I'm going to cheat. I'm going to rush it. I'm going to rush things and screw them up. On purpose. Well, this is how my day is going. I just opened the calculator on my phone and typed in a phone number, wondering why it wasn't connecting. Oh, that's good. Drift, don't let her drive. Don't let her drive. Actually, Bat, that's quite a day. Decals? I'm not sure what you mean there, unpredictable. I won't be. There will be no decal. There will be no decaling tonight. Let me just read this chat message that Drift put in here. Let's see here. Okay, let's just do this. It says boobies. I'm of the generation to know immediately what 5,318,008 means. It was a tease about you doing everything on purpose. Decals. Yeah. Definitely don't let Echibat drive. Do not let her operate the Tesla coil. The forklift. Or the wood chipper. chainsaws. Yeah, that's probably a bad idea too. Oh, TJ, they're in Nevada. The preferred method is just driving out into the desert. With a shovel. Now, unpredictable, living up in New Hampshire, Vermont area, that's wood chipper country. Bears. Bears. Are there a lot of bears in New Hampshire? Is that bear country? Present company excluded. A plethora of bears, yeah. An abundancy of bears. A superfluity of bears, if you will. Currently freaking out because I'm getting all these payments into my PayPal account and PayPal customer service is closed. Be right back. You can't have bird feeders out in the warm months because the bears will come and eat from them. Silly bears. You're not birds. Bears. We don't have a lot of bears down here in Victoria. There's a few in some of the more foresty areas, the outskirts of town, but for the most part, we're just overrun with deer. Because there's really no predator. Okay, I think we're good on this. So let's just get some tape around the sides. One of my favorite movie parts was two mafia guys digging a hole outside Vegas. One guy asked why they were digging a hole. The other guy said, always have an empty hole. Getting caught digging is better than caught digging with a body in a boot. That's true. Which one, TJ? From Discord or from Twitch? Yeah, Twitch is pretty garbo with that kind of thing. Yeah. There's actually quite a delay on the Discord one too. time we got? 7:04. We should be doing okay. We're doing okay. Zabu was so happy to have catnip, by the way. He almost took my... I'm trying to get it. Not centered very well here. Sorry about that, guys. Feel free to yell at me if I'm working predominantly off camera. I should just zoom out. On that crown piece, the head fins or whatever you want to call them, we don't have too much masking to do, but there's a little bit in the middle that's actually going to be kind of finicky. So we'll get these done, put those aside, and then we're going to do a really quick mask around the outside of this, because I don't want to get too much gray. Or do I? I don't know. What's the best way of doing this? I'm going to hit the inside of this thing with gray. Then the outside is going to be red. And then the fins are going to be orange. Zabu was so... Okay, read that. And he figured out I bought... He figured out I bought it from the smell on me, from holding it under my arm to carry it up the stairs, even when I didn't bring it inside. He tried to run out the door to find it. Decisions, decisions. Yeah, I think what I'll do is I'll spray that gray, which will be the same gray that I use here. And then I'll mask it. I'll mask out the gray. And then after the gray is masked, I'll reprime it in the white. And then... Make most sense to just then do the red and then the orange, I think. No, I'll do the orange first, and then the red. Who is that masked Gunpla? Okay. Let's do the gray. Come on, Stream Deck. It's always laggy at the beginning. There we go. All right. Okay. We'll just do a milliliter of paint. I was thinking the Be'lakor would look really cool if he was lit from below. Like a glow from the lava, like a glow from the lava he's standing on. Yeah, but with the airbrush unpredictable, it goes a long way. Don't worry about it, TJ. All right, so we're just going to get right in here. Just like that. And sorry. And you know what's funny is I've probably mixed too much. But definitely have. See? Still a bunch in there. They're not toys, TJ, they're models. All right, so we'll give those a moment to dry. I mean, lacquer dries really quickly, but you should give it a few minutes before you stick tape all over it. Let's see here. So I was thinking of painting the Bellicor. Oh yeah, I was going to say, TJ, the technical term for that is called OSL, Object Source Lighting. That's what you'll, if you look up videos on YouTube for Object Source Lighting, OSL, in mini painting, you'll find all kinds of tutorials on techniques to do that kind of lighting. Object source meaning the person is holding a lantern, or there's some object in the scene or on the figure that is creating light, and it's illuminating other parts of the model. And it's a very cool technique, but it takes a little bit of practice to do it really well. And you do have to kind of think about where that light's coming from. Like you almost, some people suggest you actually take like a little LED on a wand. You know, you make one that you can really, a directional light that you can put where the stuff is that is creating the light, and it actually, you can see then where the light will fall on the model. But that's a really cool effect. I always love object source lit models. My Kingdom Death minis are done in a kind of amateurish way with object source lighting, because most of them are carrying lanterns, because lanterns are a big function of that game. Such tiny amounts of paints, I use more than what I would with my tiny paintings. Yeah, I mean, airbrushes spray on, you know, a layer of paint that's, you know, microns thick, I would imagine. So you really don't need much. But the paints need to have really, really fine pigments in them, is the only catch. You should, have you ever considered trying airbrushing Unpredictable? You know, not like airbrushing minis or building, you know, or doing what I'm doing with the airbrush, but actually doing like airbrush on canvas or on paper. Illustrations is what I mean. I mean, you can do this stuff if you want, don't get me wrong, but I mean, like, you know, more of the traditional art airbrush, poster type airbrush. Well, you know, like with just so you're aware, Unpredictable, if you're painting with acrylics with an airbrush, most people do that without any kind of spray booth. If you have a large enough room, you can just spray directly with acrylics. So lots of mini painters you'll see using acrylics and just spraying with without any kind of exhaust type system. Kind of just open a window. Due to a lack of toys to paint, I've been practicing on spoons. Yes, that's right. That's when I said they're models, TG, not toys. It's like if somebody has a whole bunch of resin kit, garage kit figures, never call them dolls. You will upset them. Am I missing something fundamental about how to blend paint? Well, I mean, we kind of have talked about it. Do I have a sample board here? So with acrylics, you have two choices, right? You can either do a glaze, right, where you create a really thin wash and you just keep building up on top of that, right? I mean, I'm sure you've learned all about glazes. And then this is me practicing wet blends at some point in the past where I was... Oh, I see. You were actually talking about toys. Where, Jesus, I can't remember the actual... whether you pull... I think you pull dark into light. Yeah, that's right. You pull... So you end up with wet blending. You're going to lay down... Oh, geez, I can't remember. It's been so long since I've done it. Anyway, in answer to your question, you probably don't lack any fundamentals on how to blend acrylics. It's just that it takes a shitload of practice and a lot of failures. before you're good. You get good at it. I was watching Wopelius do one like that this week. So Rohan in Flames. Yeah. Now you have to be a little careful with Wopelius because Wopelius almost paints exclusively in oils, which are so much easier to deal with when it comes to blends, because the things just don't dry out, right? They don't instantly dry like acrylics. And so he can sit there and he can blend back and forth until the whole thing is brown. No, I mean, if you're careful, you're not going to let that happen. But that's the big thing. That's the big idea, light bulb moment with oils, and why they're seeing a resurgence in mini painting, is because they're just easier to deal with. They're a more ideal paint than acrylics. Then I should say model acrylics, because like the acrylics that Unpredictable paints with, tube acrylics, they do have some of the same fundamental properties as tubed oil paints, where they do take you have some decent working time with them. But like these types of paints, they just dry so quickly, which is why you have to fake blends. You're not really blending, you're glazing, or doing a wet blend, but you have very little control with wet blending, I find. Corvus, I have 700 square feet, and that's already got living space, sewing, beading, drawing, painting, large and small canvases, a cat, spinning, knitting, and crocheting in it, and nail polish. Don't forget the nail polish. I do not have space for an airbrush. I'm disappointed. No, that's fine. Hey, that was just a suggestion. It's just a suggestion. Your airbrush, though, would be you would use it in the exact same spot that you do those large canvases. Oh, that's right. I forgot your next purchase is a loom, a full-size Victorian-era industrial loom, complete with steam engine and street urchins to sweep. My next purchase is you can use the airbrush to do nail polish. It's true. All right, let's get going on this. So for this, I need to cut some really, really small pieces of little triangles, I think. Little triangles. I plan to hang the loom on the wall when not actively weaving. TJ, when she first mentioned the loom, I asked her about the loom in actually the same kind of where the fuck are you gonna put a loom tone on Unpredictable's last stream, and apparently they make small looms. Who knew? Like, I have only ever seen a giant loom. Feel free to post a link on Predictable to one if you want. I love how ghetto spray booths can be. It's really funny. I love, you know, I mean, I have a cheapy Amazon purchased one, but that I've modified. But hey, no worries, Unpredictable. I'd look it up myself, but I want to keep going here. I want to get this thing finished by 8. I hate it when they offer you the option to zoom on an image, right? And it gets 40% bigger. Hello, Walnut Harp. Oh, shit. No. I thought I was able to win a sheep there. That's very cool. That is a lot smaller than I had pictured. It folds up for travel. Imagine you're sitting on a plane and someone pulls out a loom next to you. That'd be awesome. That would be hilarious. I'm sorry, do you mind if I weave? Goes up to 3 feet, I see. Got to be really careful with this piece. It's pretty fragile. Just trying to move some of... Ah, shite. You son of a bitch. There we go. There we go. I never know if you're being sarcastic or not. There. Wait. No, that's okay. I mean, you have nice hands, but I totally say it when that's all I can see. Well, if they're nice, then what does it matter? Huh? And then I got this weird joint problem where like is it supposed to do that? You know? Is it supposed to? Is it supposed to be like that? Okay, no. My daughter and I are double jointed like that. All right. Enough playing around. Enough goofing off. Okay, so we're going to paint, let's see here. What we'll do is we'll hit this with the white primer quickly, just to make sure that we don't lose some of the orange in this black, because that would be bad. Orange is just really shitty. Right, you're finishing the stream. All work, correct. Touch her elbows behind her back. Wow, I can't do that. Etchibat has returned, and she is now a PayPal billionaire. So, didn't want to... No, you haven't missed the finale. You haven't missed the finale of the last stream ever to feature the Gundam Double Zeta. Okay, so let's scoot over here. So we're just using some white primer here. we're just going to bring that white back, more or less. Just like so. Now I think we'll start with the orange, so we'll just paint in the orange, because I think it would be easier to mask off the orange, which will be the fins. Be easier to mask those off and then paint the red. So that's my thought process. So we'll just quickly catch up on chat, and that should be dry enough to paint. Huzzah! Nope, so I guess, did you ever resolve your PayPal issues? Nope, so I guess I will just roll around anxious until PayPal support opens tomorrow. I can't believe they don't have 24/7 support in progress, because I'm sure you'll bring it out to show off the finished product more than today. Not sure what you mean. PayPal absolutely does not give an F. Yeah, they never do. Yeah, especially if you're a seller. More tape. The although the very few times that I've been completely fucked over by a seller on PayPal, they have actually they've resolved the issue pretty quickly. Of course, the inverse is true if you're a seller. Last stream ever to feature this robot in progress. I sometimes pull old kits out a little bit, occasionally, but not that often. I mean, I'm not a complete show-off. I mean, come on. I'll usually display them a few streams, like maybe up to 2 streams following the completion of one, just for people who haven't seen one finished, or who maybe saw me working on it but didn't see me finish, or the finished product. I do post the finished things up on Instagram, but that's a nice emote.
Cruising down Santa Monica Boulevard with the top down, Tear23 has just joined chat.
Tear23 in the stream. Okay, that's probably good enough. How you doing, Tear? Hope you've had a great day. Hope you had a great day. We're just finishing up the Gundam Double Zeta for my last stream ever on Twitch to feature The Gundam Double Zeta in progress. No, you may not see it. No one has seen it yet. We got to get this piece done. Then we'll see it. I feel like this needs a bit of a mix with the tool because I haven't used it in quite some time. That's looking pretty good. All right, so we'll let that dry. Clean this. All right. I shall wait patiently with my mouth shut. You don't have to keep your mouth shut. There, see, she kept her mouth shut for exactly one message. One message. Big hearts, tear tear. Too funny. Okay, I didn't even know I had this emote. Tin Yan 3 panty. Too funny. Too funny. It was great while it lasted. All right, so just some quick notes. I can show you a few things here. Just make sure my hands are clean while we wait for that to dry, because I got a mask over that orange, so I want to give it a little bit of time to cure properly. I did get the double beam cannon finished. Got it right here. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy with it. It's a little big, like from the point of view of actually attaching to the model and being able to pose the model. I kind of wish these cannons were just maybe a little bit shorter, but it's nice. I like it. Yeah, the blue and the different colors of the grays that I use, it does work nicely. A couple decals here for, I want to swim in that blue. And then these pieces I had to redo. I wasn't happy with them. And actually what happened was the panel liner, you do have to be a little bit careful with this product for anyone building Gundam, Gunpla, because you have to be careful not to use the panel liner on the division between two parts, because what can happen is it can wick down in between two pieces, and when it dries it tends to expand a little bit and you can actually crack the plastic. And that's what happened here. There's a tiny little crack there that you may or may not be able to see. There. Right where my thumbnail is. It's a little crack there. And then there's another one here. I don't care too much about them because you'll never see them. Panel line gone wrong, exactly, yeah. So just be aware of that if you are using the panel line accent color, that you may not want to try. Just be mindful not to use it between the division of two pieces. So I'm not really sure what I'll do with this in terms of panel lining it. I think what I'll likely end up trying is, because all of these panel lines, like this one here, and the rings, they are all divisions of pieces. They're not like just etched in panel lines. And so what I think I'll do is I'll clear coat it with some gloss, and then I will panel line it instead of with an enamel, which is what this is. I will panel line it with an oil, a black oil, and that shouldn't create any issues. But that is not something we will be doing. That is not something we'll be doing tonight. I don't have any single hair brushes Unpredictable, but I have like some like 8 zeros and, you know, some really, really small ones that I could painstakingly kind of paint those in. But I think if I just use, there's another, it's easy to, like, you don't need this stuff really to do panel lining. If you have black tube-based oil paint, you can just mix a really, really, really thin wash of black, you know, like coal black, a carbon black, and then I saw one guy adds black to Vallejo black to panel line. I'm going to try that. Yeah, or if you just go, next time you're at close to an art store, TJ, just get a tube of cheap black oil paint, and you just have to mix it with distilled terps or something along those lines, and you've got basically the equivalent of this. Only it will be an oil, which would be not a lot, like not as damaging to the model. So that happened. I fixed that and repainted these pieces and put the decals on. And the beam cannon's there. And then the other thing are the hands, where I've done a little bit of work on the hands. I want nothing to do with oils, nothing. Well, I wouldn't discount oils completely. Like, you're not going to really be like, you could get a tube of black and mix some simple washes with like, you're gonna see me use oils. You're gonna see me use oils in the next build, and how powerful oils are for weathering, TJ. And when you get into wanting to do a really weathered, you know, diesel punk rust bucket type mech at some point down the road, you might change your mind on that. And Unpredictable just has some irrational hatred of oil paints. So don't listen to her. No, she has a very valid point. But, but, you don't have to use this, right? You can use this, which I quite like the smell of. All right. And there's also Taltine, which really has no odor at all. Of all of them, this one has almost no smell whatsoever. This one, even though it says that it's odorless, actually, does it? No. So this one actually does have quite a smell. This one has a nice smell. It's almost like lemon. Yeah, very, very mild. Very mild smell. And this one doesn't really smell like anything at all. Just don't drink it, because I think that means bad. Okay. Yes, Etchy, I think you might be. I think you and Drift are the only ones. The only ones out there. But oils for weathering have a very distinct quality that is difficult to imitate, and they're cheap. This one's confusing me. All right, home stretch here, home stretch. So let's cut. Actually, I can just use these. Hey, and you know what? Acrylics have qualities that oils would be hard pressed to replicate. I'd imagine. I don't know what those would be, but everything has good qualities and bad qualities. And you guys aren't wrong that oils are they do stink. But you, like in scale models, the equivalent are, for weathering products are enamels, which are equally as smelly often. You look at those like AK Interactive weathering products. Like Unpredictable, if you were in more for the scale model side of things, then if you were to say, well, I don't really want oils because I don't like the toxicity, the alternatives aren't really that much better. Okay, let's get some larger pieces here. Oh, piece came off. And then one more. Almost done here, guys. So exciting. So as Drift would say, ¿Por qué los dos? Right. To be especially careful taking this stuff off. These things are super fragile. Cut that. And because we're painting red over some orange, we shouldn't really have to reprime this. Okay. I'm not seeing any holes, which is what we want. So I think we're pretty much ready here. Pretty much ready. Quick catch up, sorry. I've learned to live without them. For example, we can airbrush acrylics where oils we cannot. Says you. I'm just kidding. I can't airbrush oils. But maybe we should try. Should we try that? Maybe we'll try that. The qualities that acrylics have is not smelling nearly as bad, being solvent with water, and drying fast enough to work rapidly on certain techniques that in oils would take months. Yep. Plus, even wet, you can layer with relative viscosity in ways that are far more difficult in oils. Totally. A lot of paint preference comes down to preferences of technique. Yes, very true. I do my best to work fast, and it would never happen in oils. No, you'd constantly paint and repaint and repaint and repaint until you decided you were bored with this project and moving on. All right, let's paint this. So we need our character red. That's Sazabi red. We do not want that one. Character red. Perfect. Eight o'clock. We're doing good for time here. Give it a little mix in the pipette. That should do. Problem with airbrushing is you spend more time cleaning it than painting with it. At least I do. All right. Hopefully we don't have any mishaps here with paint peeling off. Yeah, more tape is right. I was laughing today because I was uploading. I've been trying to upload all of my videos to YouTube, just so I don't have to save them. I like saving these streams just for posterity's sake. But I've been putting them up on YouTube, or I started to. Just so I didn't have to, you know, keep them on my computer because they take up a lot of hard drive space. And of course, they're completely clean, right? 100% fine. I never get any muted audio or anything on Twitch. But damn it, if the one little clip of audio that I use, which is called Battle Without Honor by a band I think called Hanoi. It's kind of like Tarantino popularized it with Kill Bill. It's that sound that plays when Gary Busey's on the screen for the channel subs and the bits. And damn it, if that didn't get that, literally 12 seconds of audio demonetizes every single stream where somebody donated. It's hilarious. I laughed at that so hard because I'm like, it gives you the notice, right? Like, gives you the notice, like, you know, this is demonetized, and you click like, oh shit, like what? I'm on Epidemic Sound, so there shouldn't really be anything. I was like, what the hell? And then it's like, It's literally a 13-second clip of audio. And I mean, I know it's the most hilarious thing. I was joking on Discord with it about it, but you know, it's saying I Gary Busey'd myself, but it's I'm sorry, I'm showing off my hands there, but like, I don't care. I don't really care. I'm not. I don't really care if I'm demonetized, obviously. Like, these things get like 2 views, you know, and they're probably both me. But there, that's fine. Oops. But I just thought it was funny how it's like, I'm more concerned, I just don't want to get DMCA'd, right? So I've changed out the that audio to just some bullshit sound clip from Epidemic Sounds for now, until I find something that's more appropriate, that will be equally as ridiculous as Battle Without Honor. Isn't it? I really like this blue. I do too. It is called... It's a Gundam color, actually. It's the AEUG, sorry, MS Blue. And it's actually pretty close to that lid color. But I'm happy with that choice. And the other lighter blue is this one. This is Gundam color MS Light Blue, which I didn't use a lot, you know, just a little bit. Just to get a little bit of contrast here and there. There. So that's good. Now we should be able to start with this. Carefully, carefully, carefully. Of course, I stuck tape to tape, which was kind of stupid. Shouldn't have done that. Kind of hard to avoid, though. YLNM blue. Don't know what that is. Oh, it's a one of the golden acrylics. It's like when you really fall in love with a paint at the art shop, right? Unpredictable, and you're like, oh my god, that's beautiful. And then you look really closely, and that little tiny fine print there says it's like Series 9, and you just gently put it back on the rack and walk away. Newly discovered blue pigment that Golden did in lab quantities. Oh, that's cool. Wow. Do they do it in oils? Or Golden don't really do oils, do they? Do Golden do oils? I can't remember. They don't, do they? They don't do oils. Exposed. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm not an artist. I can't paint. Trash. I'm trash. That peeled up a little bit of overspray there. I'll go in afterwards and fix that. They do? Why have I never seen those? So, I mean, I'm not going to really finish this tonight. I'm going to, truth comes out here, folks. I won't be doing any of the panel lining or clear coat and final matte coat on these last few parts. Instead, we'll jump into the Schnabelgan. Yeah, I didn't think they did. Kind of, we'll just leave that to Windsor. All right, then we'll get this stuff off. Carefully. Pays to have a really good set of tweezers if you're doing a lot of resin kits. Come on. Tear. There. Not bad. A couple little missed bits there, but that's okay because I think the panel liner will fill them. Cool. All right. Where are we at here? That might be it, folks. The last sacrifice to this tape ball. All right. It's reveal time here. Well, at least not until the next project. Okay, so let's reposition the light here a bit. I'm not going to put the hands in. There it is. There it is. There'll be better photos on my Insta. I get it in the light booth. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I don't know if the flashlight would help a bit, but not really. Can bump up the exposure here a little. No, it doesn't help. I can zoom in though. And then let's just show off the back. Oh, hey, King Yuchi. Oh no, piece fell off. Welcome, Raiders. Welcome, Raiders. Hey, King Yuchi, how are you? How are you? Welcome. Daisy Day, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. How are you? How are you, King Yuchi? I hope you're well. I hope you're well. Hey, thanks for the follow, Daisy.
Here's one. Ninepence. I'm not dead. What? Nothing. Here's your ninepence.
So you guys arrived like at impeccable timing. Let me move this out of the way. Impeccable timing. We just finished. We just finished. and there it is. All right, we'll get this over the way.
More tape for the tape god. More resin for the resin throne. More sprues for the sprues lord. More paint for the paint king.
Excellent. Excellent timing. Thank you, everyone, for the hype. That's awesome. That is the sacrifice. Those are the sacrifices made to the tape god for this model that you see before you, which, King Yuchi, as I was saying, before I was so excellently interrupted by Echibat, is finished, finally. I started this guy, I guess on the, what did I say, Echi? I think that on March 19th. March 19th. So just shy of 2 months of streaming to get this guy finished. Yep, it's all done. More or less, like 99.9% finished. There's a couple little things I'll tidy up off stream. But yeah, we are completed and moving on to the next one, which we're just about to talk about. But yeah. Yeah.
Bring out your day. Here's one.
Gnoi new.
Ninepence.
Gnoi new.
What? Nothing. Here's your ninepence.
Thank you for the follow. Yeah, you got the LED kit in there, and it's not a kit. It's actually just a completely proprietary thing that I made. But, yeah, I'm really happy with it. I'm going to turn that off because I'm concerned about the batteries. And I put the switch in, like, the most ridiculous place possible. And that piece is supposed to fall off.
Look, everyone, hide your manga. Dreamcatcher Sky just entered Corvus's chat. Welcome to the stream,
There we go.
Dreamcatcher Senpai.
Thank you very much, everyone. There's a few pieces that you'll see wobbling around on it that I do need to glue on. And then that piece is supposed to fall off. Yeah, that's the escape hatch. No, I need to glue that little piece on. And this is the beam rifle that goes with it. And so I'll finish it up properly and put it onto my Instagram as a completed product, probably this weekend with luck, but no guarantees. But yeah, that's basically where we're at. Hey, Four Dads, I didn't see you in there. Welcome. Finally finished. Yep, finally finished. But yeah, so completed. Quote unquote, complete. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put this out of the way, and we're going to talk about the Schnabel gun. Oh, and I never actually showed the back. This is the back. It's very tippy. A little pro tip for anyone doing resin kits: make the joints. Yes, it is. It's not, well, Gnoinu, sorry. It is a resin conversion. So it is the base Gundam Double Zeta Verka. So it's the MG, all right, but it's had a resin conversion attached to it. So it's the Fortune Meow Studios Gundam Double Zeta Verka resin conversion. Yeah. Thank you, Ter. I want boots that impressive. Hell yeah. So let's put him aside now, and let's talk about the thank you, Ganunoi. Thank you, everybody. I couldn't have done it without you. That's not true. I could have done it without you, and a lot faster. No, I really couldn't. It wouldn't have been as fun, though. That's the thing. It would have been lonely. But thank you. I do appreciate it. I do appreciate all of the support that I get from the stream. Always fun. It's just the best group of enthusiasts that I've ever run into. I'm so glad I started streaming, because it just wouldn't be the same without you. So lonely. I am so lonely. Oh, Dreamcatcher. I didn't even see you there. This stream senses me and sets off the alert, even if I'm in the other room. It's just that way. It's just that way. Hey, Chiba, thank you. Thank you. Come on. Oop, there we go. Thank you so much, Echibat. Subbing the 1 month gift sub to Gnoinu. So generous. You guys are so generous. Thank you. Thank you, Echibat. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so there it is. Keep an eye on my Instagram for photos at some point in the future. No guarantees, because I'm terrible at socials. So let's put this away. Yeah, so let's take this all apart now and store it. I'm going to go for another half hour. We're going to talk about the Schnabelgun Dreamcatcher. So, like, favorite kit I built so far? Probably my Calamity Breagle. The Calamity Breagle. Drift, you know what? Like, the fun is building them, right? So, it's, you know, it's the kind of thing where it's like, once it's done, like, the appeal kind of disappears, you know? And, honestly, I prefer to keep my, thimble collection on my shelving. So there's no room really for the mech. No room for the mechs. You could sell them to someone who doesn't want to build them. I could, you know, I could, but it wouldn't be fair for the other people. Books. That's right. Lol, never enough shelves or space. Yeah, Dreamcatcher knows the trueness there. This is my highly organized workspace. Etchy, take note. Drift, take note. All right. Schnabelgun. Much organization, much wow. So, as you know, we had a poll. Just the name. As you know, we had a poll, and we selected, well, you selected. I didn't even vote. The Calamity Schnabelgun as the kit of choice. Oh my god, Dream, come on. How long have you known me? Like months? I don't throw them away. They all get a lovely place on my shelf of kits. And I keep them. I don't sell them. I don't do commissions. I have no interest in doing things for anyone other than myself, unless it's a very special thing. But yeah, I just I keep them. I absolutely keep them. I wouldn't throw them away. Yeah. Well, now that I'm actually accomplishing something because I have a Twitch stream, and things get finished, that might actually be needed, Drift, on the Corvus compound. Anyway, this is a signed edition of the Schnab, 3 of 30. I got an early one because I'm special, but it's actually not. This isn't the same one that this card came with. But this is what we're building. Calamity Labs for the Corvus Ocularium. That's excellent. That is, if it ever gets made, that is what it will be called. Corvus 19 Horde. Yeah. Too good. Too good. But this is kind of ballpark what we're making. This is just an artist rendering of the Schnaub. And in these kits, you get some examples of various cannon that Luca has come up with for the Schnabel gun. You'll hear me say Luca a lot with this. Luca Zampriolo is the proprietor and artist behind Calamity kits. Calamity is it's an homage to the main planet, Drift, correct me if I'm wrong, the main planet of the five star stories, which is another set of models and another excellent manga series by Nagano. And I did a Machine Messiah. You may remember some of my regulars. The Machine Messiah AUGE kit that I did, full resin kit, is a 5-star series. Well, Luca is a huge fan of 5-star models, and he sort of named his company in honor of Calamity, the planet from 5-star stories. Sorry, I always say 5-star series. This is a 1/220 scale kit. It's one of the smaller ones. And I've divided out some of the parts. This is the feet. This is another set of instructions. It's funny because he decided to change the scale between the two editions, but it's actually the same size. So he just kind of shrunk the machine a bit in reality. But this is indeed, let me just change the exposure here. Make it a little more accurate. This is indeed a true garage kit, resin kit in every sense of the word. Gonoi New, if you're still there, this is obviously, you were saying, is this a resin kit? For the double Zeta, well, there's a conversion. This is a true and proper full resin kit, 100% resin. And Luca's parts, he hand sculpts them, so they're a combination of So this is 100% resin, and you'll see some parts on it that are reminiscent of Gundam, but for the most part, he kind of does his own thing. But the overall designs do tend to have a lot of Gundam influence in them. It's funny, he's named his company Calamity after, or in honor of 5-star stories, 5-star stories. But his mecha design is certainly more Gundam than, like, chunky Gundam than slender, sexy, high-heeled 5-star. So, like this, for example, is the back carapace armor. Carapace, I don't remember what you call it. The back bit of Beetle, for example, carapace. Yeah, chunky mechs. That's basically Luca's thing, is chunky mechs, because you know what? Honestly, they're easier to deal with. From a sculpting point of view, they're easier to make, is what I'm trying to say. So all of these are hand done. He takes solder and parts and sculpts, and he uses a ton of epoxy sculpt and makes these basically in his cave with a K, and then sends them off to be cast in what I do believe is somebody's garage, because the casting quality is pretty garbage. It's, and don't get me wrong, I love the guy and I love his models, but if you've ever seen a properly cast mech, like the five, anything from Volks or or G Systems, or really any of the original makers, as well as even recasts of things from the bigger companies like GKM and E2046. They are leaps and bounds better than most of the stuff you're going to get from him, just in terms of minor flaws. And so that's what I kind of wanted to sort of devote the last sort of bit of this stream to, is what my process is, and just kind of discussing how I deal with getting these sorts of things ready, in case any of you out there do want to tackle a resin kit at some point. So what I think we'll do is I'll just sort of show you with one of the pieces what my process is for prepping it to paint, and then I'll just discuss a little bit what I do with a model like this to weather the fuck out of it. So I'm just going to try to find a good one here. This one's not bad. So let's start with this. I see a bunch of flaws on this that we need to deal with. So let's just set this one aside. Put all this away. Probably just done an Instacast and whacked into a pressure pot. So with Calamity stuff, for dads, I would say it's more likely approached. Well, first of all, no, I don't think he's using Instacast. I think what's happening is he's sending it off to a workshop that perhaps doesn't do a lot of science fiction model casting, and as a result, the quality control isn't there. I mean, he's doing runs of 50. I don't know why this one was only 30, but they're not terrible. I don't want to sort of make it sound like they're awful, but if you've purchased kits from Volks or G Studios, or as I said, even GKM, the newer things from GKM or E2046, you'll question like the amount of money that you paid for something from Calamity, but at the same time, you're not paying for like the crispest, most amazing cast. You're paying for the artist who made it to continue making these things, right? So anyway, but so let me just zoom in here and I'll show you what some of the defects are that you're going to look for. First of all, any resin piece like this is going to have pour tags, which is what this chunk is here and what this chunk is here. All right. And so what I will usually do is use an X-Acto knife, and I'll file those, I'll cut those down as much as I can with the X-Acto. And for this, you can't really use a scalpel because the scalpel blade is too thin. So you need something that's not that's kind of got some rigidity to it. And we're going to just cut those off, those pour tags. If you have, these ones are just little ones, so I can cut them like this. If you have an actual big pour tag that's sticking off of it, then you're going to want to get a pair of just cutters to nip it off with, like this. Just a pair of nippers. Tear, nippers. And nippers. But now for you gunpla guys out there, for the love of all things holy, do not use your God hand, 120s on resin. You will snap them faster than you can get tears welling up in your tear ducts to mourn their loss. You need to use, that's right, nippers. You need to use ones like that. You need to use the bigger ones. I just use these Mr. Tools ones, and they work just fine for resin. So then once you get that down as much as you can, what I do is just sort of where it's supposed to be, just careful control of the X-Acto to cut it down. I then use the back of the X-Acto blade and I scrape. Just like that. You know, a lot of people, you see them using the edge, the cutting edge to scrape with, but you shouldn't do that because you're just wrecking your cutting edge. You can just use the back of the blade, all right? And so the other thing that you're going to want to do is find all of the mold seams. And I picked this part on purpose because you can see one that's right here. All right, so that's where the two parts of the mold came together. Be kind to your nips, that's right. You don't want them to get chafed. Wait, are we talking about the same thing? I don't know anymore. I'm confused. And so what you can do with the back, again, just the tip. Oh my God, this is somebody mark this as not safe for work. You want to just use the tip of your nip. There's so many words in this stream. There's so many words in this hobby. Nubs. Don't forget to rub your nubs. And just use the tips when you're using your nips. Anyway, you can see what I'm doing here is I'm just using it to scrape away the resin. And the resin that you get, the resin that they use for these sorts of garage kits, it comes away like this really, really nicely. It's actually really satisfying to do this, to scrape this up the way I am. And because you're scraping off, if anybody, you know, you read a lot about resin being poisonous, and it is, but really only if you're sanding into a very fine particulate. You don't really need to worry about a respirator for what I'm doing right now, because the chunks of resin I'm scraping off are quite large, and they're not being picked up by the air that's circulating around the room. Now, the minute you bust out some sandpaper, then you need to put on a mask or get yourself a really good, hey, TJ. You gotta scrape it. TJ, sir, thank you for the biddies. Much appreciated, my friend. Corvus, Oculum, Ascared. Thank you. Damn, I forgot you don't have the voice thingy. Yeah, I don't have TTS. I need to set that up. I've been meaning to on bits to set that up. But I just haven't gotten around to it. I find Stream Elements is just the worst interface I've ever come across. It frustrates me, and I don't get easily. This is coming from somebody who's set up, you know, Leorin board, which is also extremely frustrating. So generally, what you want to do is scrape this down, but I set it for you, right? You got to scrape it. Was that good? Pretend I'm TTS. So what you want to do is get it down enough that you can either, well, you can eliminate it entirely, or you can sand the rest out. All right. The other thing, now there's all kinds of, there was a pour tag here, a really big, nasty, ugly one that, oof, like look at that. Shitty. Now in that, so I think that there should be, that should probably be cut out with a tool, like using this sort of a thing. A rotary tool with an end mill. You know, you can get in there and just kind of grind out grind that groove back into there. But we won't do that now because that kicks up too much dust. Because that is ugly. You know, this is more what I was trying to say with Lucas Kits is it's just like the workshop that he did some of this stuff at. Just they make some kind of poor decisions as to, you know, where they put their pour tags, where they put their seam lines. Like, why on earth does the mold cut across there? Like, Etchibat, if you're still there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, you take each piece when you're using masters and you have to strategize where, you know, where you're going to cut your, cut your molds, like where you're going to put the plasticine to make your two-part, right? And there's just some really baffling positions that make no sense at all on some of his stuff. And I think it just comes down to just really an amateur workshop doing the mold making. Yeah. I mean, sort of just, you know, because I've done lots of molds for kit bashing and some stuff that I've done, and he sorry, lost my train of thought there. But just like, I know Luca and I know how talented and smart he is, and I just don't think he was really responsible for this. And especially, like, why would you put your pour tag here, right on this detail part, right? I say pour tag, some people say pour tabs. But normally there would have been a big chunk of resin. I've cut those off since getting the kit, you know, many moons ago. But there would have been a big piece of resin like that sticking out of here that I've snipped off and sanded. So for dads, no, I really doubt Luca will ever get a resin printer. Go and subscribe. Go and look at some of his videos if you have time. Yeah, you always want to put them in an inconspicuous spot that's flat, right? So when you snip it, you can just sand it off and you have a perfect surface. Why the fuck they would put it here, right? Stupid. But but go on YouTube and check out Calamity. That's Calamity with a K. That's the actual thing I'm making. But if you just follow into there and go and look at all the socials, you might get, if you're using Firefox or Chrome, you might get a warning when you go to his website about it being a security hazard. It isn't. His website is garbage, and he hasn't renewed his HTTPS certificate. So, I mean, it might not really be encrypted properly, but if you purchase anything from Luca, you don't do it through his website anyway. You do it with him directly through email. So don't worry about any warnings you get. It's all legit. So anyway, that's mold lines, and that's kind of how to deal with them. Is you want to just scrape them down as best you can, like so. And you can do all this without worrying too much about ventilation. In my opinion, other people might say play it safe and just wear a ventilator if you're dealing with resin. I don't. I do when I'm sanding. Only if I'm sanding without a vacuum cleaner. Oftentimes I'll just have a big shop vac kind of, you know, up against what I'm doing, and I'll sand, and I know all the resin dust is going into that. So then the second thing that you want to deal with resin kits are the bubbles. And you can see some right here. There's one right there. All right. Little tiny bubble. There's one there. There's another one there. You want to fill those. And this is the other sort of amateur hour thing, I think, with the whatever workshop was doing these. Casting porosity, yeah, that's pretty much it. If you are pressure casting at a very high PSI, this shouldn't happen. Like, especially when they end up like right in the middle of a model. Like, let's say there was a bubble right there, then you know they just don't have enough pressure. And Etchy, like, step in if you think I'm saying something that might be a little erroneous, but this is my take on things. Is sometimes you'll see a bubble on a corner in a cast, and that's usually a case of just poor mold design where they haven't allowed for undercuts. So what happens is you have a space where when you pour the resin in, resin can't defy gravity and go back up into a corner. So if you were casting something that looked like this, is this going to work? Let me stick it down appropriately here. So if you're casting something that has a piece like this in it, all right? Okay? So you're pouring your resin in here. This is where your pour hole is. This is a problem because the resin can't go down and then come back up because there'll be air in there. Unless you're casting in a vacuum, right, and pressure injecting, you can't get air. You can't get the air out of here. So you either have to put in a hole, right, out the top of this. Like here, we can use this. So you either add a hole in your mold, right, like that, so that as the resin comes in, the air gets pushed out and it fills this space. All right. Or alternatively, you can use a little tiny piece, and you'll see this sometimes. You have to inspect your parts on resin kits because often they will just put in a little kind of triangular piece of plastistruct or like plaw plate, okay, for the Gunpla guys, to make sure that doesn't happen. So they'll basically put a piece that kind of bridges this whole thing so the resin just goes in. So when you see a bubble, though, that's right on a corner, it usually means that this has happened. So when they poured this mold, there would be a bubble that would form here like this, right, like that. And you would just, it wouldn't fill up the corner at all, and you just get a big bubble of air in there. Okay, so Etchy says, or potentially that the mold material wasn't run through a vacuum chamber either. Yes. Now, that's another big thing as well I can talk about. So if you're pressure casting, if you want to get into casting, if you're pressure casting, which means pressure casting is basically you pour your resin into your silicone molds, and then you put your silicone molds into a pressure vessel, and you basically goose the air pressure in that pressure tank up to like 70 psi. And what happens is the little tiny bubbles that are in it, they don't go away, but what happens is they get crushed down to very, 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 very small bubbles, much smaller than these bubbles, and so you don't see them, all right? But now there's an issue if you're getting into casting, and it's that if you decide that you want to do casting and people tell you, oh, well, you should pressure cast, that's great and all, but you cannot do pressure casting in a silicone mold that you made which you didn't vacuum degas. It gets very complicated. So, some people say, well, you should get a, people say that you should usually get the vacuum chamber first because you can't use the pressure chamber on your own molds unless you're vacuum degassing the silicone. Because what happens is, if you don't vacuum degas the silicone, vacuum degassing is the opposite of pressure casting, kind of. Think of it that way. Like you're mixing your silicone, which is a two-part silicone that you You mix and it's still a fluid, right? And you want to put it in this big thing that looks like a crock pot, and you then run a vacuum pump up to it, and you suck all the air out of that crock pot. I should say stock pot. It's more of a stock pot. Okay, that's what they look like. I have one that I pull out, but it's buried under a lot of junk because I'm not a tidy person. So what you do then is you suck all the air out of that's been stirred in to that silicone. Vacuum chambers are also much more fun to mess with. True. So then once you've sucked all of the air, what happens is it kind of boils. It's really neat. The silicone actually kind of boils inside of it, and then it hits this kind of threshold, and then it all collapses in on itself, and you have this substance that no longer has any air in it, and you then pour that over your parts to make the mold. But if you don't vacuum degas your silicone on a silicone mold, when you pressure cast it, you'll have the opposite. You won't have little bubbles. You'll have little bumps. You'll have zits all over the model when the resin comes out of the mold. And it's because you have all these tiny, you have to think of the silicone that the resin's being poured into. When you then put that in the pressure chamber, all of those little bubbles that are in the silicone, they collapse in on themselves. And so those surface walls inside the mold, they get all pockmarked, right? So anyway, we're kind of digressing off of the main topic here. But what I do after I've removed all of the gunk and goo, not gunk and goo, sorry, I scrape down all of the mold lines. With these holes here, I'll usually cut them out like this with the knife. Because sometimes the actual bubble is much bigger than you think it is. You'll just see the tip of it, and you have to kind of just run an X-Acto in and around it to carve it out a bit, like I'm doing here. And then you're going to take some kind of filling product, and that can be anything from epoxy sculpt, which is a 2-part polyester epoxy. I have some somewhere over there. Or you can use a product like Tamiya putty, or you can use Milliput, or you can also use UV resin to fill those holes. And then once they're filled, you want to just sand them smooth again. So once I've done all that with the part, I will then take it and I'll clean it. And I'll show you how I clean it. Yes, I agree. UV resin is also my favorite. I use a Bondic pen, which is this. Because it's just convenient. You can squeeze a little tiny bit of this into it. Has a really fine syringe tip. You can squeeze a bit in the hole, smooth it off with your finger, kind of just like do a little focus, do a little boop, and then hit it with the UV and it hardens, and then you can sand it smooth again, and it's instant. All of the other products like the Tamiya putty, especially the Aves epoxy sculpt, they take quite a while to harden up. So what I've done is I take, let me zoom out. I take these types of containers that you can just get at any sort of wholesale type club place, and I've drilled 1 million holes in the end of one of them, but not in the other. And then I put a product in it like this. Make sure I'm pouring in the right one. So this is a product that's available in the US called Purple Power. Here in Canada, it's just called Super Clean. I don't know why it's a different name. Probably copyright. But what I do is I put my parts in here, okay, and I sit them in this. And I'll usually leave them in it overnight. Just like that. Okay? You can kind of get the idea. It's just floating around in there. And the reason you want to do that is because they use a product inside of silicone molds called mold release, MOLD, mold release, right? And I can show you what that looks like. Pardon the pajama pants. This is the one that I use. Man Industries Release 200. This is basically a lubricant. Not the good kind of lubricant, but the bad kind of lubricant for your paint. It's really safe to assume that resin parts, when you get them in the box, have some degree of that left on them. And you really don't want to trust that they've been cleaned, because it's unlikely. It's really unlikely that they have been as thoroughly as they should be. I don't know if that's true, Etchy, of the ball jointed dolls, but certainly with any kind of garage kit or resin kit, you will absolutely want to degrease it. So Purple Power is what I use because it is basically an automotive degreaser. Yeah, I figured they maybe you're paying such a premium for those and they come in such beautiful packaging. It would be odd to not go that extra distance and make sure they're cleaned. So with BJDs, do you do any kind of preparatory cleaning? Or maybe just with like some soap and water? Although they're strung already, right? So you probably wouldn't want to really get them wet, would you? I don't know. The only reason is because they're usually painting them before. Of course, that makes so much sense. Yeah, that makes so much sense. But it's safe to assume that these aren't. And because a garage kit like this is blue cleaner goop solution. Yeah, so this is Purple Power. It's just an automotive degreaser, White Wolf. Because that mold relief, it's basically a lubricant. It's a petroleum-based spray-on lubricant like WD-40, right? And so if you paint over that, you're going to have a really bad time. Am I right? Like, you can't prime over oil. That's a bad idea. So it's important that you do this. And I like this little trick with the double up containers, because you can do this. Okay. Grab this piece. All right. And then what I do is I just use where the hell did I put it? I use a toothbrush, but I don't know where it is, to scrub it. Because that's the next thing you'll want to do is you'll want to scrub this and get it really good and clean. All right. Use the Purple Power, scrub. Make sure that it's good and clean. It's interesting. All the top of this, I can see a fingerprint that's actually in the resin. I have Luca's fingerprint in here. I could access his phone if I wanted to. So that's what I suggest is Purple Power. It works really well, but any automotive degreaser works. Some people use Simple Green, some people use Mean Green. These products are all things that are going to be different in different countries, likely by different names, but that's sort of how it is. And then, so after the Purple Power, I then usually will use just a dish soap to make sure that it's really clean. that I get all of the purple power off. And then once I've rinsed all the dish soap off, you at that point should not be touching it with your fingers, because the oils from your fingers are also going to affect the paint and the paint adhesion. Because you have to remember that the paints that resin, lacquer-based primers stick pretty well to resin, but they don't chemically bond quite as well to resin as they do to styrene and ABS plastic, where the hot solvents in them really do melt into that plastic at a microscopic level. Less so with resin. A good example of that is if you try to strip paint off of a plastic part, you have to be really careful if you're using lacquer thinner. In fact, it's just not really recommended. Don't do it. You'll probably destroy the part. Whereas you can clean resin parts. You see me do it in past streams. If I fuck up a paint job, I can just hit it with lacquer thinner and just take it all off, and the underlying part is fine, because it doesn't really chemically bond to the plastic as well. So you really just want to make sure the surface is super clean. So that's my process for cleaning the parts and getting them ready. All right, so let me just jump back in here to chat. I noticed there's some stuff that I might have missed. And then you do clean them if you've handled them with your bare hands. Of course, yeah, so I just said that. That is excellent advice. The oils in your fingers are enough to create an imperfect bond of the paint, and you'll be pulling off masking tape, and the whole thing will come off, and you'll see that blue resin, and you'll cry a little. Yeah. I've noticed with my UC kits, my UC kits have a semi-decent amount of it on the parts. My Aether ones seem to have some. No knowledge on my YJL kit yet, because I'm letting it off gas before I open it. That's fine too. Some people do like letting their kits off gas because in theory I shouldn't say toxins, but the whatever molecules are being released from it are also, just so you know, all those acronyms that White Wolf used are for resin conversion kits. They're original companies that make resin conversion kits for Gunpla. And UC and YJL are the same company, aren't they? Anyway, it doesn't matter. It used to be Utopia Cast, and then it became YUG Labs, didn't it? But anyway, here is my point exactly with what White Wolf said, is that you never really know if they've cleaned them or not. So your best bet is to always clean them, because who knows, right? Who knows? I've received stuff as well, White Wolf, that I just think this has definitely been cleaned. Oh, Universal Century. Sorry, I thought you were talking about Utopia Cast, which is the predecessor company of YJL. YJL used to be Utopia Cast. But yeah, Universal Century. Sometimes good quality, other times, that's you've described all recasters, particularly with the conversion kits. So, following that, the next step is priming it. And even though you've done all this work on the seam lines and screw ups like this, you're going to want to prime it and then reinspect all your parts. Because you will often miss things until it's primed. There's some weird optical illusion with resin pieces, particularly with sci-fi stuff like this, where you will just completely miss things because of, I don't know if it's the shininess, the glossiness of the resin parts, but after you've hit it with some matte primer, it's like, oh shit, there's all kinds of flaws still. And so do expect to prime and then go back and sand your primed parts and then reprime them again. And do all of that with gloves on. Tear. Thank you so much. Big love. Gifting the Tier 1 sub to White Wolf. Thank you so much. You're too generous, Ter. You're too generous. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. But yeah, that's what it is. I've been hoping to make one of your streams for a long time. I'm happy I finally got into one. Unfortunately, I'm about to shut it down. I apologize, but on Wednesdays I can only go till about 9, quarter after 9, really. Friday and Saturday night, I'm on for more of an indefinite period of time, but I usually sort of shut it down around 3 a.m. at the very, very, very latest. But basically, yeah. So that's what I'll be doing with some of these parts over the next little while. I think, TJ, you mentioned, am I going to be doing some of this on my All Work No Play streams? I probably will be. Priming parts on stream is something that I'm loath to do because it's boring as fuck. And I probably won't do that on a Friday, Saturday night stream because I can't talk to you guys. I can't do anything fun. But I was hoping to maybe take a little less time on the Gundam Double Zeta before switching into this, and maybe even show you priming and doing the base coat on one of these. But I think we'll hold off for the next stream and wrap this up now. King Yuchi, I'm learning so much. Thanks, man. That's awesome. I mean, I'm trying to sort of like help people. If anybody wants to get into this this hobby, there's some really great people, really good streamers and resources out there for it. And it's just one of those things that's kind of like people. Yeah, I hear a lot of Gunpla guys, especially, where they're like, "Ooh, I'm worried about resin." And it's really not something to be worried about. If you know the basic rules behind it and sort of the do's and don'ts and the little gotchas, then it's fun, and it's fun. And I would say too that full resin kits like this one, like 100% resin kits, are easier to build than conversion kits. If you're moving from like Gunpla to and wanting to try something in resin, I would even say go to a full resin build first, so that you get the feel of how resin goes together, how it's all pinned, and how that all works, and then go into the conversion kits, because the conversion kits can be a little bit tricky for reasons I won't go into, but for reasons that you kind of saw on the last 2 months as I built out the Double Zeta. So anyway, that's kind of the thing. So on the next stream on Friday, what I'm going to do is take one of these parts, maybe two of them, and I'm going to go through a full paint and weathering. That's my plan over the weekend, 2 streams, to do a full paint and weathering. And as I've said before, with this guy here, we're going to do a really, really diesel punk weathered. Lots of hairspray, lots of airbrush chipping type stuff. I'll maybe show you guys salt chipping, those sorts of things. The oil wash, oil paint rendering, all of those techniques to make something that looks really, really rough on purpose. And what's kind of cool about the way that I weather my models that you might enjoy as viewers is I don't do the whole thing in steps. I do one part at a time from start to end, because I like having that completed weathered part as a reference piece to do the next part. So it's really neat watching it come together, because you have parts that haven't done anything, that we've done nothing to, they're just primed. And then you have parts that are completely finished. That's, of course, after we do the pinning. This guy shouldn't take too long to pin. I might do some of that on the All Work No Play streams. But anyway, that's kind of the plan. So unless anyone has any questions, forever hold your peace. And we're gonna go from there. That's very true. Like, you know what? Like you might get a kit like this and feel really disappointed about some of the flaws and things in it, TJ. I'm just commenting on your hey, and thanks King Yuchi. I look forward to seeing you here on Friday if you can make it. But with a kit like this, even though it's rough, I'm not too worried, because it's going to be so battered up that some of that coarseness, some of that roughness, like this isn't a 5-star series build, right? This isn't a perfect, knightly specimen of mecha engineering. This is like supposed to be a battle-hardened beast that is basically like, it's been put through hell and hasn't been cared for and exists on the planet Calamity. Not a planet Calamity. I can't remember what. Azkaban. Azkaban is the name. Azkaban? Abacan. Abacan? Shit, I can't remember. Drift, where are you? What's the name of Luca's planet? Where it basically rains acid rain all the time, and it's a horrible place. But that's what we're going to be doing anyway. We're going to be building out some of these parts from one end to the other. And then as far as the time, yes, thank you. So the all work no play stream, TJ, is just whenever I feel like it. There's no schedule for those. I just turn them on. I may even do one later tonight. I might not. I don't know. It's just when I feel like it. Just for anybody who's wondering, the all work no play stream is a separate channel entirely. It's just Corvus_Oculum_AWNP. There's probably, if you scroll up through chat, there's probably some links in there about it. But basically, it's a non-interactive stream. At least it's supposed to be. Sometimes I cheat, and I do chat. But it's basically just me working. It's basically, yeah, I know. I think it's Abacan 2022-33 or something like that is the name of his book. That's the name of the planet that Luke has created for these lumbering beasts to exist upon. But the all work no play stream is really just me watching me work while listening to some awesome licensed DMCA-able tunes. Usually just some chill work vibes. It's the kind of thing, if you're working on something and you want just to have something playing in the background and watch me just because there's no one else better on Twitch, that hot tub VTubers has gone offline, then I'm there for you. Anyway, guys and girls and everybody else, humans and inhumans, I think we'll call it here. It's been a great stream. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ter for gifting the tier 1 sub to White Wolf. Thank you, TJ, for the bits, of course. Thank you, Etchy Bat, for gifting Gnoinu the tier 1 sub as well. Thank you for the follow, Gnoinu. Thank you for the redeem, Etchy Bat, of more tape. More tape for the tape god. Daisy Day, thank you. King Yuchi, thank you for the raid. And Kaylee Larson, thank you for the follow. That was 2 days ago. Okay, we're stopping there. Great fun tonight. Yeah, thank you so much, everybody, for everything. It's such a fun group here, and looking forward to this build, Drift. Yeah, I am too. This one, I know I say this bullshit every fucking time, but I promise you this one will go a lot faster, and there won't be Gnunoi. Yeah, cheers. Gnunoi and everybody else. This one won't have as big a tape. There will not be as much tape in this, because this is going to be more of a weathering one. There aren't as many details. So, anyway, let's see if there's somebody we can't raid. And go from there. Let's see who's on here. And with my raids, I'm always open to suggestions. If there's somebody you think that we should attack, then let's do that. Hey, see you later, Ter. That was a glorious tape ball, isn't it? It's got some gravity in her, too. Like, I'm usually working as well. Yeah, that's awesome. That's the intention, is it's just something to do. It's just someone to watch. So let's see here who we have. Gishtastic? No. Important researcher on, but they've been a little hit and miss lately. Hey, thanks, King Yuchi. I appreciate that. I like to keep it just kind of chill. Yeah, Adimisk is there, so let's raid Adimisk. Why not? All right, everybody, stick around for the raid. We're going to do that right now, and I've said my goodbyes and my thank yous, so let's just do this. So again, Friday I'll be on around 10:30 Pacific Standard Time. It's been awesome, everybody. Thank you so much for all your support. Always a blast. Always a blast. Take care. I hope the rest of the week treats you well. And yeah. Have a good one, everybody. Cheers. We'll see you later.